Good morning. I'm here today with Mr. Tom Broadhead. He is from University of Tennessee, Knoxville. He is the professor and director of undergraduate academic achievement, and we are delighted to have him join us today. As you know, many of our students choose University of Tennessee, Knoxville as their college, but things are changing all the time, so we'd like to get the latest and greatest from Mr. Broadhead.
Thank you for having me in this morning. It is always great to visit Christian Academy of Knoxville, and I am delighted to be your recruiter again this year.
Thank you. I know you've worked with our students for a number of years now, and you bring a wealth of information.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. The first question we have is the bottom line. Can you tell us a little bit about sticker price versus the net price for in-state students like our students?
Sure. So the cost of attending includes tuition and fees, room and board, and then miscellaneous expenses including travel, midnight pizza, things like that. But usually tuition and fees is the main thing that people focus on. This year it is approximately $13,000 for 2 semesters, and that's as a full-time student. So that would be the sticker price, but the net price, though, most of our students come in with the HOPE or other lottery scholarships, and then other UT or external scholarships. So the cost can be a lot less than that. And because most of your students live within 50 miles of campus, they have the option of living at home and commuting to campus, which can be quite a significant savings for dormitory cost.
Okay, when you say $13,000 for 2 semesters, do you mean $13,000 per semester total?
That would be for the year, $13,000 for the year.
Okay, including all the housing and other things, or the tuition only?
That is just the tuition and fees.
Okay,
yes.
Just to clarify, thank you. What would you say is the average GPA and ACT test score for a student that you would think is a good fit for UTK?
We actually, rather than reporting averages, which sometimes can sound kind of scary, we report the mid 50% of the admitted students of our entering freshman class. So for this fall, the mid 50% weighted core GPA was between a 3.4 and a 4.0. And for ACT scores, the mid 50% was from a 24 to a 30. So in the case of the ACT, we offered admission to, or 25% of our students had a 31 or higher, and 25% of our admitted students had a 23 or lower. Okay,
thank you. Now, can you talk a little bit about the 16 core credits? I know we have a GPA that we report to you through the transcripts, but I know there's a little difference in how you actually calculate the GPA. Can you speak to that, please?
Sure. Yeah, we focus on 16 core academic courses, 4 units of English, 4 units of math, 3 units of science, 2 of a foreign language, U.S. history, a non-U.S. history course, and a fine art credit. These are not required courses to be considered for admission or to be offered admission at UT, but those are simply the ones that we use to calculate the core GPA. So when a student applies, usually in the fall of their senior year, they will not have completed their 4th unit of English or their 4th unit of math. So we calculate just based on those courses that they have completed, with an additional half a quality point for honors classes and a full quality point for courses that are advanced placement or dual enrollment.
Okay, how about the minuses and pluses? Like our system may have an A minus or a B plus. When you're doing your calculation, what do you do with the pluses and minuses?
Okay. We generally just enter a flat score.
Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you. Now, what is the application process? Say I'm a senior, I'm ready to get rolling, what should I do?
Okay, well, our applications go live online August 1st every year. We have 2 different online applications, our own homegrown VIP, Vol in Progress application, and also the common application. And so students may find one to be more convenient than the other. But the information requested is identical, and we do not have a preference between the two. So the student then goes online, completes and submits the application, pays the $50 application fee, and then we'll wait to receive the official transcript from the high school and test scores, which may be on the transcript or may come to us electronically from the testing companies.
Okay, I know we tend to request students get those test scores directly from the testing companies. So if you get an application and you're still waiting for transcripts or test scores, does the application sit in some kind of a holding file until all the parts come to make it a complete package?
It does, and students will be able to, they'll get an email that they'll say, hey, thank you for applying, and you're missing some things, so please log into your profile and see what's missing. And we try to not send that missing thing email right after we get the application, because we know that it can take time. And we don't want to have students come and bothering their guidance offices like, did you send my transcript?
Never a bother.
Right, yes.
Thank you. Now, recommendation letters, I noticed that those are optional, as is the personal statement.
Right.
Could you talk to, is that real, are they really optional, or is it preferred? Does it give you maybe just a teeny bump up, the fact that you took time to complete those items?
Sure. So recommendations, they can request as many as 2 online through the application. Not required for the admission application. Okay. They are, however, required for the competitive scholarships and honors applications, which I think we'll be talking about those in just a little bit. Those, and my recommendation there is, if a student is requesting a recommendation or recommendations, that the best thing is to ask the recommender to just focus on 1 or 2 really great things that the student did. Sometimes we'll see a recommendation that has a list of all the student's activities, but the student has already told us what those are. So we're looking for new information in a recommendation. And if a student's academic profile maybe falls in the lower 25% of our admitted students, then a recommendation may be the thing that kind of tips the scale in favor of the student to provide us with information of the student's ability to do well in college. And so that would be the relative importance of recommendations for students at the very high end. Their recommendations will be probably most useful for scholarships and honors programs. And then the personal statement, we do have 1 required essay in the application. They have choices, and all of them address things that the student has experienced in their lives or things that they value. And so they're really opportunities for the students to tell us about themselves. And that's really what we want to know. We know what the numbers are, their GPA and their test scores, but we really want to get to know them as a person. And the personal statement, which is optional, is a student's additional opportunity to share with us some information about challenges that they've met, great things that they've accomplished, and anything else that they think, well, maybe the admissions office would like to know that about me, just to kind of flesh out the entire person.
Now, what's the normal length for a personal statement?
Personal statements, we typically see something up to 300 words.
Okay.
And I mean, if they have more to write, then that is great. But again, the personal statement ideally would focus on maybe 1 or 2 things.
Now, in the personal statement, is it important that the student explain why they're a great fit for University of Tennessee, Knoxville specifically?
They can, and we do see a lot of personal statements that talk about the connections they have, emotional. I mean, they've come to games, they've used the library, they may have family who are graduates of UT. And those are interesting things to put in there, but personal statement probably is more of an opportunity for the student to tell something about themselves, that, again, something that they've accomplished, challenges that they've overcome, something like that.
Okay, now can you talk to a little in the essay? Is it better to tell a story, a narrative, or is it better to give a long list of accomplishments or?
In the required essays, it's the narrative, the story, that is really going to be most important there. And the prompts for the essays are pretty much lead a student in that direction.
Great, that's so helpful, because it's hard to decipher with optional items how important is it. And I like that you talked to the student who's going to be going for the competitive scholarships versus the student who may need the essay as an extra boost to their regular application. So when applying for the scholarships, my understanding is that those letters of recommendation are automatically forwarded. There aren't additional letters required for the scholarship application.
That is correct. Although in the scholarship application, they can request letters.
Okay.
But if they have submitted recommendations with their admission application, we will copy those into their scholarship application. So sometimes we'll see a scholarship application that may have 4 letters in it, that's up to the student to do. They should choose their recommenders carefully, people who know them well and can really say something substantial about the student's accomplishment.
Okay, and what is the application deadline for the scholarships?
Okay, so to be eligible to apply for competitive scholarships, and those are awards that are made by committees on campus, student has to have applied for admission not later than November 1st.
Okay.
And by apply, that means they have to push the submit button. The transcript and test scores can come later, but by midnight November 1st, they have to have submitted their application. Once they are admitted, then they'll receive a link, a web link to the scholarship application. The deadline to submit that is December 15th.
Okay, thank you. Can you talk to the volunteer scholarship specifically and what criteria must be met to qualify for the volunteer scholarship?
Certainly, yes. The volunteer scholarship is UT's biggest academic merit scholarship program. And the minimum, it is based solely on grades and test scores. There is not an application essay or anything else. It is based on information that we get with the application for admission. The minimum ACT score is a 29, and that is a super score. And the minimum GPA is a 3.80 weighted core GPA based on the 16, or the courses out of the 16 that they've completed.
And you need both of those to receive the scholarship?
You must have both of those, and to be eligible to receive the volunteer scholarship, student has to have submitted their application for admission by December 15th.
Okay.
So it's a later deadline than for competitive scholarships.
Okay, thank you. Can you talk a little about the honors programs that you have, and how would an honors program be different from a regular program?
Sure, okay. Honors programs come in a lot of different shapes and sizes at UT. We have 4 campus-wide programs that admit students as freshmen. The 1794 program is a 2-year program that emphasizes campus engagement and community engagement. The Chancellor's Honors is a 4-year program that emphasizes academics and research, leadership. Program obviously emphasizes leadership, and students who participate in that actually earn a minor in leadership studies at UT. And then the Haslam Scholars Program is our most prestigious program. 15 students are selected each year. A lot of different criteria: strong academics, leadership, creativity, to be considered for the Haslam Scholars Program, and that's also a 4-year program. All of the campus-wide programs have a small part of the common academic experience, which is focused mainly on one-credit seminars. And for the four-year programs, they all have a senior research project or senior thesis required. 1794 students, when they complete that two-year program, then have the option to finish in the Chancellor's Honors Program, to finish a four-year honors experience.
Wow.
So in addition to those, then many of our colleges and departments also have honors programs that are based on the content of their curricula. In most cases, students are invited to be in those programs typically after the sophomore year, when they've completed all of the prerequisite courses and are doing well in the major.
Now, how is a student selected for one of the honors programs?
Okay. For the campus-wide programs, there is an online application and another essay for each of those. So students then can apply after they have been admitted. They will be able to apply for any of the programs for which they are, academically eligible based on their superscored ACT or SAT scores and their weighted core GPA.
Okay, thank you. Now, I understand there's been a lot of construction going on the campus,
Yes.
a lot of new buildings
Right.
coming up. Very exciting. Can you tell us a little about the Student Center and also about the dorms?
Right, okay. So a couple of years ago, we completed phase one of our student union, and phase two will be completed this January. So students who are seniors here this year will get to come to campus and have a full advantage of a fantastic new facility that will host a lot of student organizations, will have a lot of meeting space, additional food service. We have some great food options in the existing one, along with the bookstore and computer store. So that is probably our biggest construction project almost in the history of UT, except for the Thompson Bowling Arena and the stadium. We also have some new academic buildings. Mossman Science Center on Cumberland Avenue is going to be inaugurated in just a few weeks. Very excited about that. Strong Hall, which was a residence hall, and they've kept a few bricks of that, but now it is a major new academic building. We have added a new residence hall about every year for the last 3 years, and we have 3 more that are currently under construction. And so we are updating our campus living to provide the highest level of convenience and comfort to students who choose to live on campus. As I mentioned earlier, freshmen are required to live on campus unless they are commuting from the home of their parents within a 50-mile radius.
Okay, now how do you get in the waiting line for one of the new dorms?
Right. Okay, so when students apply, and this is different this year, they are able to go ahead and complete a housing contract. It used to be after they confirmed their enrollment was when they did that, but now they can do that much, much earlier, and the completion date of the housing contract will set their priority for housing selection. So the earlier the better.
That's an important clarification.
It really is. Yep.
Thank you. Can you tell us about some of your majors? I know the supply chain management is a well-known, nationally ranked program. Can you tell us about some of the popular majors and also a little bit about the programs that require special extra credentials to get into, maybe nursing, engineering, architecture, that sort of thing?
Okay. So we offer more than 300 academic programs at UT, and out of that, about 170 are majors and concentrations within those majors. Supply chain management in the Haslam College of Business, that is our probably our most famous and highly rated major. It does not have any special requirements to be admitted to it. And it is ranked not only nationally but also internationally in I think the top 5. Very exciting. Most other business majors also are highly rated. I know our accounting major is like top 25, something like that. And overall, the Haslam College of Business has just incredible academic opportunities. Our most popular major is psychology. And it is a general psychology degree that really students can go on to almost any career, not necessarily as a psychologist from that. It's a great general background. Engineering as a college is very highly ranked. Biology is also highly ranked and also a very popular major. Last year, well, for incoming students, pre-medicine is one of the most popular majors for students coming in, but that is not the most common major for students graduating. So students often change their minds for a wide range of reasons, and I think having such a large number of academic offerings allows students to take advantage of credits they've earned at UT, maybe in one major, move to another major, and not really be disadvantaged and have to take a lot more time. So we're glad that those options exist because once we admit students, we want them to stay with us till graduation. Some of our majors do have special admission requirements. Nursing, for example, as an entering freshman, has very high academic requirements. There is a nursing essay that is very, very important. I cannot underestimate the importance of the nursing interest essay. The College of Nursing actually makes its own admission requirement or admission decisions for applicants. So that's not something that we do in the admissions office. Okay. Architecture and interior architecture, used to be called interior design, those also are decisions that mostly are made by those programs instead of by the admissions office. Engineering, we process those admissions in the admission office, but engineering has some very specific requirements. It being a very math-intensive curriculum, they require that students have at least a 25 math ACT or 590 math SAT, and a high GPA. So there's actually a calculation that involves the GPA and the math score that has to be at a certain level in addition to the minimum math score.
Can a student start outside of a program and then once they're already in the school, based on performance, transfer into, say, like the School of Engineering?
Right, they can, and we call that internal transfer. So if a student, maybe they didn't have the requirements to be admitted to engineering as an entering freshman, but we say, when you come to campus, talk to engineering advising. They will tell you the courses that you should be taking so you can prepare yourself to apply as an internal transfer student as early as the end of your first semester at UT.
Wonderful.
Yes.
How about the classes? Some of our students take dual enrollment classes at Bryant's. Few have taken classes at Pellissippi or Roane State. How do those transfer in? Okay.
That's one of the greatest things I think that students can do is to take actual college classes, at Bryant, Pellissippi, Roane State, any accredited public or private college or university. We will accept those courses and grades as towards the requirements for their degree. And so students sometimes in their senior year, they think, well, I don't have anything more challenging to do. Dual enrollment is a great option for them. The On the high school transcript, we like to see them reported there as dual enrollment, and then when we calculate the weighted core GPA, we'll add a full quality point. If they got an A in a dual enrollment class, then we'll give them 5 points instead of 4. Additionally, when they apply, we would have to get the transcript from Bryan or from Pellissippi or from Roane State or another college. And then our registrar's office will then put those courses on their UT transcript. One thing that the grades earned in dual enrollment classes or at any other college, they may take summer classes at another place, those are never part of the UT grade point average.
Okay.
Okay. So only UT Knoxville course grades are part of the UT grade point average, but they will still show on their academic record that they took courses, and usually it just shows as a P for passing.
Okay. What kind of visits do you have coming up? Opportunities for prospective students to come in and see your campus?
Right. I think that there is nothing better than visiting a campus for a student and family to kind of look around and do I feel comfortable here? Is this an attractive place? It's a 4-year investment, and not just of money, but of life and emotion and hard work. And so we really want students who are interested in UT, come to campus and visit us, see what we're like, and then come back again. It's always going to be different. You're always going to see new things. We have daily organized tours led by our student ambassadors on weekdays, usually also one Saturday a month. And then we have big visit programs. Our Big Orange Preview is coming up in late September. That is our open house, and we have one of those in the fall, and we have one in the spring. And so it's an opportunity to get some general information about UT, but also to go and visit some of the colleges and meet with people, with professors and students from those, and get a little bit of additional information. We have another program called Rocky Top Tailgate, and that is associated with 2 home football games, non-conference games, and students can purchase up to 4 tailgate tickets for $10 a piece. We serve them a meal, and 4 football game tickets at $10 a piece. So it's not just for the student, they can get tickets for their family and friends, and that is not a program where we do visits with colleges and things like that, but it's just a great social program. And again, on a game day, the atmosphere on campus is very different from what it is during a regular school day. And the other one that we have is Scholars Invitational, and that is a program that we have for high achieving students. Generally, we invite students who have a 31 or higher ACT to come to campus. This year it is on Saturday, October 13th. They will have academic showcases with colleges and academic departments. They'll learn about scholarships and the honors program. So come to one or come to many. We always love having students come back, and because we really want them to feel good about the choice that they're making.
Well, for the Scholars Invitational, does that mean that a student would need to have applied by, say, the 1st of October in order to have a chance for the application to be reviewed and accepted and the invitation extended?
Actually, they don't have to. We purchase test score information from ACT and SAT throughout the year. And so we I think currently have about 20,000 names of students who meet that academic criterion, who I believe next week is when the emails will be going out to invite students. And if we don't have their test score, but they have scored highly like that, then they can contact us, and we're always going to be happy to add them into the invitation.
Okay, I know there's another ACT coming up, I think September 8th.
Right.
So if someone were 1 point shy, but they're hoping to make up that other point on this ACT, would there be time for that score to flow to be invited for the scholars?
There would be, and once they know what their score is, if they haven't heard from us, they can, again, contact the admissions office, and they can send us their new score information. We'd be delighted to add them in.
It sounds like keeping in touch with the admissions office is key in many ways.
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you tell us a little about extracurricular? You mentioned the football games, and I know how fun those are. What about other extracurricular opportunities?
We actually have more than 500 organizations that students can join. And some of those, more than 100 of those, are academic and professional, things like Phi Beta Kappa. I know that business and engineering have professional societies. They bring in practicing professionals. Students get to see what it's about. We have a pre-medical organization, so anytime medical school recruiters are on campus, anyone who's a member of that group gets an email, well, come in and see what UT Medical School or Vanderbilt Medical School or another medical school, what are they looking for this year? And even the freshman year, students can kind of start getting an idea if they have an idea what their career would be. Other organizations, a lot of volunteer organizations. We really, we are the volunteers, and we pride ourselves in not just the name, but we try to live up to that in a tradition of giving on campus and outside the campus. And religious organizations, social organizations, lots of recreational organizations, and you can always be a fan of one of our great sports teams.
Well, you have given us so many things to think about today. We have really enjoyed this time to talk with you. Do you have anything else that hasn't been included in any of our questions that you think seniors might need to know, or juniors who are looking ahead?
Yeah, not that comes to mind, but I would again kind of reemphasize that come visit us, especially students at CAK live nearby, and we would love to see you on campus. And one thing that I often ask when I meet with students and families, I ask the question, do you have a refrigerator at home? And some hands will actually go up, and I'll say, well, good, because this time of the year for seniors, the main purpose of your refrigerator is to post on it a piece of paper that has written all of the deadlines for applying for admission, applying for scholarships, applying for other opportunities at UT, at other schools, and as a reminder, so that everybody, not just the student, but the parents will see, to remind the students, don't miss a deadline. You can be your own worst enemy by missing a deadline. Some deadlines are soft deadlines, but some are not. And don't take the chance of missing a deadline and missing the opportunity to enroll at the school of your dreams. So and if you don't have a refrigerator, you might have an ice box. So, which we know what that is.
Yes.
But thank you so much for inviting me here. It's just been a great pleasure to answer your questions, and certainly hope to have a great group of CAK students enrolled with us next fall, just like the fantastic group that we have this fall.
So get out there and get working on your applications. Go Vols!
Go Vols!